It should come as no surprise that the habits we form will determine our success or failure in our personal goals. After all, habits already dictate a lot about our lives. If you, for example, don't commune with the divine daily, then you can expect to have no to slow results when the time comes to get you out of the bind. That's why it's so important to form good habits so that you can reach your fullest potential. What's even more interesting is the fact that these same good habits can help you to stay motivated when it comes to facing obstacles, delays, dealing with divine timing, etc. For the best strategies and tips on finally living the life you want with the least resistance through making the right tweaks to your mindset and daily habits, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get my latest uploads every week. So, here are 5 examples of some pretty good habits that can be applied to your life to help you achieve your goals at a steady and consistent rate. Number 1, you want to take care of yourself. If you've ever been sick spiritually and or physically, then you know it's impossible to be productive or even have a positive attitude when you're not feeling well or all hell is breaking loose at the same time. That's why it's so important to take care of yourself on a holistic level. For example, carrying extra energetic and spiritual weight not only drags you down, but affects your energy levels, which in turn affects your productivity. So, setting up some healthy habits like keeping up with your weekly spiritual baths, daily meditations and prayer, weekly offerings, daily ancestor veneration, making sure you're not violating any taboos if you're initiated, etc., will help your roads to remain clear, and that means help things run more smoothly in your life. Okay, in turn, this will help you stay motivated longer because your heart and mind will start to get in sync and stay there. So your improved holistic health makes this a win-win all the way around. Number 2, you want to revisit the reason you're doing what you do. Excuse me, revisiting per se why you chose that goal and why you're doing it, right? So when you make goals, you tend to feel that initial surge of enthusiasm for that particular goal. Sadly, this motivation tends to wane over time. So we want to build habits that will compel you to revisit that goal to bring that motivation level back up. For example, if you're doing something that will benefit a specific group of people somehow, then plan to spend time each month with that group to remind yourself of why you're doing this. Another way to approach this would be to read a pataki or Bible passage relating to your present situation. You'll not only gain more knowledge and grow as an individual, but you'll also feel empowered because that particular santo, orisha, and ascended master, for example, Jesus, Krishna, etc., had to overcome similar situations before you. So you basically have the blueprint of how to overcome the situation as smoothly as possible and know what pitfalls to avoid and what type of mindset to adopt. Number 3, we want to be proactive. Getting the jump on things is a habit that not only keeps you happy, but also gives you a rush of dopamine to the brain. You want to build habits of being early or do things that help you to think ahead and have that, foresight. For example, make lists that keep you not only on task, but ahead of the game. Another example is to do your daily prayers at dawn. This is the preferred time I've found within spiritual paths of Ifa, Christianity, and South African based ancestral veneration. The idea behind this is for your petition to the divine and your elevated ancestors to rise with the sun, Baba Yope, Mafirifun, to gain strength, heat, vitality, momentum, right? And to be seen if it is if that's your intention, right? You'll start to see that you'll get the heads up of certain issues beforehand. In that way, you can either fix the situation, lessen the blow, or completely dodge the bullet altogether. Number four, you want to focus on the small stuff. If you're dealing with a big goal, such as purchasing a new home, it's easy to lose your motivation along the way when it feels like you're not making any progress in the savings area, like saving for that home, literally. Thus, creating mini goals out of that bigger goal gives you milestones to celebrate and builds motivation back. You'll gain much more success by making small changes and stacking these tiny habits over the period of time of your goal, having a set amount and schedule on how much you're going to save no matter what's going on in your life, except death and major surgeries, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. Another example is saving for initiation. You would create a small budget of how much you'll be able to realistically save each paycheck or each month until that major day. This money would not only cover your initial costs, but also cover additional expenses like your personal clothing, food, gas, transport to and from the place, any lodging expenses, babysitting expenses for the people who have children, if that is applicable, etc. That type of stuff. The little small, little minute details and stuff. So the key here is to break down or dissect a major goal into doable steps. Number five, you want to surround yourself with people who motivate you. This is an easy habit for you to build in that it involves choosing a little more carefully the company that you keep. Building a habit of meeting with these group of people on a regular basis not only keeps you motivated, but has the added benefit of cementing relationships with those around you. That's why it's so important to be very discerning about which ile or spiritual community that you'll be a part of. Though no one is perfect, it's imperative to build healthy and balanced relationships. Because when the relationships are healthy, the collective creates an ambiance of solidarity and upliftment on all levels. And Ifa speaks on this. Ifa will say, en la unión es la fuerza. In Haiti, our credo is l'union fait la force. So, and in Christianity, Lucy Progreso, um, Christ mentions where two or three people unite, the Spirit of God or the Holy Spirit is there. And I'm just paraphrasing on that because ancestors just brought that to um, my understanding. Okay. So we want to make sure that we are surrounding ourselves with like minds and positive energy. Okay. Be balanced as much as possible. So to wrap this all up, let's begin with this simple three-step process, right? To set you off on the right direction. Number one, you want to set realistic goals and straighten out your priorities, right? What is your goal? What does it look like in the real world? Because there's nothing new under the sun. So there's someone here. You can we got the web. Hello, yes. We have the internet. Isn't it a great invention? Yes, where you can meet people who have achieved a similar lifestyle that you want to achieve. Not everything is going to be the same. Not every experience is going to be the same, but it is similar, right? So you want to seek out individuals who achieved the lifestyle or the success that you want to achieve and emulate that and use that as your springboard to build a solid foundation to gauge, okay, how much time is this realistically going to take me to get to from A to Z, and measuring that up against your daily life. You understand that. So find the real world example. And I'm trying to think of the Odu, ancestors, please help me with that, that speaks about that. I'll come back to it because I'm hearing Iwori Meji. No, no, it's not. Forgive me, Lucy Progreso. It is I think it's Eero soon. Anyway, I'll come back. Okay, because I'm kind of semi channeling, semi teaching, but I'll come back and I'll leave it in the description box below. What Odu is that? Okay, but it's that Odu speaks about um having goals that are measurable and finding examples of your goals and emulating that, doing the research, doing your due diligence, as we'll come up with step number 3 before you go gung ho and jump over the cliff like the fool card. And then you're like, "Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to do that." So that brings us to step number 3. You want to know what sacrifices are needed to achieve said goal and be flexible enough along the way, right? Because you want to make sure that your emotions aren't higher than your knowledge of the situation, like it states in Okaramei. The beater of sticks on mats, the beater of sticks on mat, the beater of sticks on mat, right? Because once I receive Okuram Meji in a reading for myself or a client, that means I'm too in my feelings. That means I jumped off the cliff, went gung ho, my enthusiasm went off the roof, and I didn't do my due diligence to find out what sacrifices is going to be necessary to achieve this goal. And I'm not talking about rituals and ebos and adimus. No, mindset, time. Am I in the right season? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Am I in the right season to even tackle this certain goal? Am I in the right mindset? Is there outside influences that are kind of coercing me to want to make this a goal of mine? So we have to self reflect. Ifa is big on self reflection, right? Just because it's glitter, it's not gold, right? We don't want to be an Ethiope in Osogbo or EB that it shines so bright that we're blind. We're jumping head first, right? That's what causes our head having that knowledge Okaran Medi is speaking about of a situation, and our heart, that enthusiasm, we don't want them out of alignment, because then when you look to the north, you have Obaramehi, which speaks about the resting and hovering. Now you're on the fence. Now you're kind of like, okay, divine, I'm waiting for you to just drop this in my lap. And the divine is like, I know you lie. I know you lie. Okay. So we want to make sure that you're in the right season, because certain goals, it's not that they're unachievable for you. It's that you're probably not in the right season, right chapter in your life to start working on that goal or achieve that goal, right? And in a future video, I will explain certain manifestation tips on manifesting within the right season for yourself, and that off the rip, that needs that needs to be a prerequisite for it, is for you to know yourself well enough and how the cycles of your life changes. Again, Ifa is the study of nature and working in accordance with nature, so your life is balanced, more ire than Osogbo, right? So we have to pay attention to the cycles of life and to the seasons. Lucy Bogreso. Even ancestors saying in the Bible, it mentions that, um, I'm paraphrasing here, that everything is produced in its own season, in the right season. And I think that's Psalm 1s, because that's what they're showing me. Lucy Bogreso. Again, I'll put that more in the description box below. So you can see that things correlate. And Ifa says that every major so-called religion and spiritual belief is within Ifa. That's why I love Ifa so much. In that sense, that's boo. That's Bay right there. You know, Ifa is Bay right there. But anyway, I'm gonna stop. If you want to make sure and break down your goals and make sure you're in the right season in your life, you want to make sure that you heal, because if you're holding on to emotional garbage or turupamei, it's going to be difficult. If you're not willing to make certain sacrifices, it's going to be like pulling teeth. If you're holding on to resentments and abandonment issues and trust issues and control issues and all these issues, guess what? Guess what? That goal will be just a dream. You're gonna be sitting in nobody million EB for a long time. You're gonna be resting and hovering for a minute, and then like looking for God, and God looking at you like, okay, sis, I'll wait for you to stop running away from yourself. Osame. We're gonna wait for you to face this mirror. I'm gonna need you to look into Yale Jones mirror real quick, because you over here running. Okay. So we want to recap, set your goals and your priorities, review your goal in detail, and track and analyze the results by creating quarters, timelines, or time frames. But before we do all that time frame and quarters and all that, make sure you're in the right chapter, the right season of your life, mentally, in a mundane sense, spiritually, to do the right thing. Lucy Pogreso ancestors are also saying to make sure that you get divination by a qualified diviner. There's a few card readers, old school card readers that are still here, but a qualified diviner to make sure this is in alignment with your ori and with your ancestors. Because if your ori is not up for it, guess what? Ain't no amount of magic gonna make that goal manifest itself. And if it does, you're going into baneful magic, and then that comes with a price, a very heavy price. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're in the right season again, and that our heart and our mind is in alignment. Okay. So building good habits is an awesome way to stay on track to reach your goals. The best part, as with any habit, if you do it enough, you'll wind up acting without thinking. It'll become voluntary, it'll become unconscious action, but you're working towards a goal, making motivation an automatic part of your life. So, how cool is that, right? Okay. Now that you've gotten some new tools under your belt, are you ready to apply what you just learned? If so, download your free accompanying workbook below in the description box below. Right? Right? Yes. We're glowing up here, my love. We're doing the glow up thing. If you need more help, you know where you can find me at themoralkumpas.com, and on this channel every week, of course, where I'll provide more tips, mini trainings, and tricks to help you on your personal journey. Also, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you a part of the family, and I'll catch you in the next video, my love. Stay blessed. Iboru, Iboya.